All right, guys, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video and if you're new to the channel. So Oleksandr Usyk has been basically coming out recently and saying that he's ready for both Joshua and Tyson Fury. He believes he could beat both AJ and Tyson Fury. And he believes that he's going to do it sooner than later. This year, perhaps. It's going to start with Joshua because he's the mandatory, and then he's going to go on to face Tyson Fury. Now, that's what he believes. Guys like David Haye had come out and said that he believes that Oleksandr Usyk beats AJ with ease. Now, like as I told you in a previous video in the past, when it comes to Oleksandr Usyk, I think he's a talent. He's obviously a pound for pound top talent, right? Because you don't wipe out your division. That's pretty much what he did. He basically fought all the best guys, all the guys he was supposed to fight, and he beat them and became undisputed in his division. So you don't become undisputed if you're not a good fighter. So I do think that he's really talented. And obviously when he was fighting in the Olympics, he was fighting at heavyweight, but there's like a big question mark when it comes to Oleksandr Usyk at heavyweight. And that's why I'm so intrigued to watch him fight Derek Chisora. The more I think about the Derek Chisora fight, the more I'm leaning towards Oleksandr Usyk, just because he has phenomenal footwork, and I've seen Derek Chisora be outboxed. But that fight is gonna answer me a lot of questions, because Derek Chisora is one of those guys that he's like an upsetter. So depending on how like Oleksandr Usyk looks in that fight, it's gonna like tell me a lot. Like it's gonna tell me his chances against Joshua. The question is really, is he capable of beating Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua? Of course he's capable. This is boxing. Anyone's capable of doing. I mean, if a guy like Evander Holyfield, the guy who turned pro at light heavyweight, 175, then he moved up to heavyweight and he became undisputed heavyweight. If he could do that, why couldn't someone like Usyk do it? Obviously, it was a little bit different though back then, because obviously the heavyweights were much smaller in terms of like height. They were not as big as the guys today. I mean, back in the mid 90s, early 90s, there was nobody. Heavyweights were in 6'9", 6'7". Big heavyweights back then were like 6'3". Riddick Bowe was considered a big heavyweight, and Lennox Lewis, but those guys were shorter than the current heavyweights, the current top heavyweights as of today. So the question is, what's going to happen when he gets hit by a big puncher? Because I would imagine if Joshua fights, the only way Joshua would not fight Oleksandr Usyk would be like if he decided to vacate the belt, like say in order to like fight Tyson Fury. But that's the only way I could see him not fighting him. But he's probably going to fight him. Eddie Hearn has talked about that fight happening. Joshua has talked about wanting that fight to happen. Usyk has talked about wanting to fight Joshua, so I could totally see it happening. But that's why, like, the question is, like, I would imagine if Joshua fights Usyk, he would probably be applying the pressure. He would probably trying to be walking down Usyk, because Usyk is like the Energizer Bunny. He's going to be using his legs. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. I think that would be a case where Usyk could win rounds against Joshua. But if he gets caught with Joshua, like what happens? If he gets caught by a punch from Joshua, flush in the chin, what happens? Does he get hurt? Does he get dropped? Does he capitulate? And that's why I'm interested to see how he reacts to Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora has never been known as a big puncher, but he could bang, and he is a heavyweight. And, I want to see what happens in the Derek Chisora fight. I think Tyson Fury is so much bigger than what's his name, Usyk. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3" at best. And you got Fury, who's like nearly 7 feet. I mean, he's like 6'10". There's a massive height difference there. So, obviously, he could beat them, but I would probably be leaning towards the bigger heavyweights to beat somebody like Usyk, just because I don't think they're going to respect him. I think when it comes to guys like Usyk, I think heavyweights will not respect him when it comes to like his punching power, because he's a smaller guy, and they're probably going to try to impose their size and try and walk down Usyk. Anyway, this is my opinion. What do you guys think? Do you guys think Usyk has a chance against